A parasite hiding in ordinary soil, a worm that can turn your intestines into a living nest, and an organism so rare that by the time doctors figure out what's attacking the brain, it may already be too late. Today, we're looking at 5 more terrifying parasites that doctors around the world still battle today. All right, let's dive right in. Number 5, Tunga penetrans, the burrowing flea. Let's start with something that sounds almost too bizarre to be real. A parasite that doesn't just bite you. Instead, it climbs inside your skin, grows there, and uses your body as a place to release its future offspring. Despite being one of the smallest fleas on Earth, measuring around only 1 millimeter, what it does to the human body can be devastating. Found mostly in warm tropical and subtropical regions, especially parts of sub-Saharan Africa, South America, and the Caribbean, this tiny menace thrives in dry, sandy soil, and areas where people commonly walk barefoot are prime real estate. And that's usually how infection starts. The male and female fleas can both bite humans, but it's the pregnant female where things get medically disturbing. After mating, she burrows headfirst directly into your skin. Over the next 1 to 2 weeks, her abdomen expands dramatically, sometimes hundreds or thousands of times larger as she fills with developing eggs. And as it grows, the immune system starts fighting back. Patients develop intense itching, swelling, and the feeling that something is stuck inside their skin. And the flea itself isn't always the biggest danger. It's what happens afterward. Every opening in the skin becomes a doorway for bacteria. So how do you treat something literally living inside your skin? The main goal is removing the flea completely and safely. Doctors now remove the parasite under sterile conditions, clean the wound, and treat any secondary infection. So the big question on everyone's minds, can it kill you? Luckily, the answer is no. A single flea is more painful and disturbing than deadly. But severe, untreated cases can become risky for sure, especially when hundreds of parasites, bacterial infections, and lack of medical access come together in the perfect storm of events. Number 4, Ascaris lumbricoides, the intestinal invader. Imagine showing up to the emergency department with severe stomach pain, uncontrollable vomiting, and a belly so swollen, doctors suspect something is blocking your intestines. But when they investigate further, the blockage isn't food. Instead, it's a tangled ball of living worms. I hate to say it, but it's one of the most common parasitic worms known to infect humans. So where are you more likely to pick it up? It's most common in the tropical and subtropical regions, especially areas of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, where warm climates and limited sanitation allow the parasite's eggs to survive in the environment. And the way you get it sounds surprisingly simple. You accidentally swallow microscopic eggs. Just contaminated food like unwashed fruits and vegetables grown in infected soil. Once these microscopic eggs make their way inside your body, that's when the emergent journey truly gets wild. They hatch inside your small intestines, but they don't just stay there. The tiny larvae actually penetrate through the intestinal wall, entering your bloodstream, and hitch a ride through your body. First stop, your liver, then your heart, and eventually your lungs. And once they're in the lungs, they break into the tiny air sacs called alveoli, crawl upward through your airways, reach your throat, and then you swallow them again. Now, a single worm may cause almost no symptoms, but when the number of worms increases, that's when doctors start seeing serious problems. Patients, especially children, may come into the ER with severe abdominal pain, vomiting, a swollen belly, and the inability to pass stool. So how do you treat this? Thankfully, most cases are very treatable with antiparasitic medications like albendazole or mebendazole, which stop the worms from absorbing nutrients and allow the body to eliminate them. Number 3, Baylisascaris, procyonis, the raccoon roundworm. This next deadly parasite is unsettling because the source doesn't feel exotic. It's not from some remote jungle. It's not from eating something unusual. The source can literally be walking through your backyard right now. And as adorable as raccoons might look, many of them carry this parasite without showing any signs of illness. You see, adult worms live inside the raccoon's intestines, where they reproduce and release eggs that exit through the animal's feces. And this is where things get concerning. One infected raccoon can shed millions of microscopic eggs. Humans are not the normal host, and we don't usually get infected by seeing a raccoon, touching a raccoon, or having one walk through the yard. But the danger comes from accidentally swallowing the microscopic eggs. As I mentioned before, humans are the wrong host. The larvae are programmed to migrate through a raccoon's body, not a human's. So inside a human, they get lost and start traveling around. They penetrate the intestinal wall into the bloodstream and begin wandering through tissues looking for somewhere to go. And sometimes they end up in the worst possible locations: the eyes, the spinal cord, and even the brain. And as bad as that sounds, when they reach the brain, that's where this becomes a true medical emergency. This condition is called neural larva migrans. In other words, as the larvae physically move through brain tissue, they leave behind trails of damage. But the real destruction often comes from your own immune system trying to fight them. The body launches an intense inflammatory response inside one of the most delicate organs we have. Patients can develop loss of coordination, weakness, seizures, confusion, coma, and permanent brain injury. And that's what makes this parasite so disturbing. It isn't trying to hunt humans or take over your brain. You're simply the wrong host. A true case of wrong place, wrong time. Number 2, Trypanosoma brucei, the sleep stealer. What if a parasite didn't just invade your body, but slowly interfered with the very system that controls when you're awake, when you sleep, and eventually how your brain functions all together? For centuries, this disease has been one of the most feared parasitic infections in parts of sub-Saharan Africa. It's spread through the bite of an infected tsetse fly, but unlike a mosquito bite where the parasite immediately disappears into the bloodstream unnoticed, sometimes the first sign is actually right where the fly bit you. A painful swollen sore called a chancre can form as the parasite begins multiplying underneath the skin. From there, it enters the bloodstream. And this is where Trypanosoma brucei shows off one of its most impressive and disturbing survival strategies. When your immune system tries to identify it, the parasite changes its disguise. Well, its surface is covered with proteins that the immune system recognizes and attacks. But unfortunately for humans, Trypanosoma can repeatedly switch these proteins, essentially changing its appearance over and over again. The parasite crosses one of the body's strongest defenses, the blood-brain barrier. And once it reaches the central nervous system, everything changes. The infection begins disturbing brain signaling, inflammation increases, and patients enter the neurological stage of the disease. This is where families may notice someone doesn't seem like themselves anymore. And then the symptom it's most famous for, the sleep cycle begins to collapse. Under normal conditions, your brain carefully regulates your circadian rhythm, but this parasite adds chaos to that system. Patients may become overwhelmingly sleepy during the day, but unable to sleep normally at night. Over time, neurological damage continues, seizures can develop, patients become hard to wake, and without treatment, the disease progresses toward coma, which is why it became known as sleeping sickness. Number 1, Trypanosoma cruzi, the silent heart destroyer. This final parasite might be one of the most unsettling because it doesn't always destroy you right away. It waits, and by the time someone realizes something is wrong, the damage may have already been done. Chagas disease is mostly found in parts of Latin America, especially rural areas of Mexico, Central America, and South America. But because of travel and migration, cases are now seen around the world, including right here in the United States. The way this parasite gets inside your body is one of the strangest transmission methods in medicine. The kissing bug usually feeds at night while people are sleeping, often biting around exposed areas of skin, including near the face. But after taking a little blood meal, it poops right next to the bite. So when the person wakes up and scratches the tiny bite, rubs their eyes, or touches broken skin, they can accidentally push the parasite directly into their own body. And once inside, Trypanosoma cruzi enters human cells and begins multiplying. The first is the acute phase. Some people develop fever, fatigue, body aches, or swelling around the site where the parasite entered. But here's the scary part. Many people have mild symptoms or no symptoms at all until years later when the damage starts showing up. And this parasite has a particularly favorite area of the body to target: muscle and nerve tissue, especially the heart. Over time, chronic inflammation damages the heart muscle, leading to a condition called Chagas cardiomyopathy. But the heart isn't the only place it can attack. This terrible parasite can also damage the nerves controlling parts of the digestive system as well. So how do doctors treat something that has been hiding for years? Antiparasitic medications can kill the parasite, especially when caught early. But chronic Chagas disease creates a major challenge for everyone involved. There you have it. 5 more parasites you probably never wanted to know about. And if you enjoyed this video, I think you'll really like this playlist. It's got even more disturbing parasites and medical mysteries. Also, please do me a favor and smack the subscribe button. Turn on your bell notifications so you know when I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and stay healthy, my friends.